There is a creature alive right now that cannot die of old age. Not figuratively, not metaphorically. It is biologically immortal, and it fits on your fingertip. It has no brain, no heart, no bones, and yet it has solved the one problem that every scientist, every pharaoh, every billionaire in history has failed to crack. Immortality is real. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how this tiny jellyfish cheats death, and why the answer is far more unsettling than you think. Because what this creature does to its own cells, scientists are now trying to replicate it in humans. The implications are staggering. In the next few minutes, you are going to discover how one animal broke the most fundamental rule of biology, what it means for the future of human aging, and why this story might be the most important one you have never heard. The dream of immortality is as old as humanity itself. But for one jellyfish, it is not a dream. It is Tuesday. Death is optional. Every living thing on this planet has an expiration date. Trees, whales, tortoises, humans. From the moment you are born, a biological clock starts ticking, and no matter what you do, that clock eventually runs out. That is the deal. That is the contract every organism signs with nature. Every organism, except one. In 1988, a German marine biology student named Christian Sammer was collecting hydrozoans off the coast of Italy when he noticed something that should have been impossible. A tiny jellyfish, no bigger than the nail on your pinky finger, was aging in reverse, not slowing down, not pausing, actually going backwards in time. The adult jellyfish was transforming back into its juvenile form, a polyp, like a butterfly crawling back into its cocoon and becoming a caterpillar again. Sammer documented it, published it, and the scientific world mostly shrugged. It took nearly a decade before anyone realized what he had actually found, the only known animal on Earth that can theoretically live forever. Its name is Turritopsis dowenii, and what it does violates everything we thought we knew about aging. But how exactly does a brainless blob the size of a pencil eraser outsmart death itself? Reverse aging. Here is where it gets truly mind-bending. When Turritopsis dowenii is stressed, injured, sick, or simply getting old, it does not die. Instead, it triggers a process called transdifferentiation. Transdifferentiation. That word sounds complicated, but the concept is beautifully simple and absolutely terrifying. Its adult cells literally transform into completely different types of cells. Muscle cells become nerve cells. Nerve cells become egg cells. Specialized, mature cells revert back to their youngest, most basic state. Imagine if a 70-year-old human could will their wrinkled skin cells to become fresh stem cells. Imagine your gray hair follicles deciding to become brand new heart tissue. That is what this jellyfish does. Every single time it faces death, it sinks to the ocean floor, collapses its body into a blob, and reassembles itself as a polyp, the earliest stage of jellyfish development. Then it grows up again, and again, and again. If that just blew your mind, hit like and subscribe, because the next facts are even crazier. Seriously, you are not ready for what comes next, because the question is not whether this jellyfish is immortal. The question is why we are not. Life cycle loop. Now, what I am about to tell you sounds impossible, but it has been observed hundreds of times in laboratories. Most jellyfish follow a straightforward life cycle. They start as a fertilized egg. That egg becomes a larva called a planula. The planula settles on the ocean floor and becomes a polyp, which is basically a tiny stalk. That polyp buds off baby jellyfish called medusae. Those medusae grow into adults, reproduce, and die. 1. Egg becomes larva. 2. Larva becomes polyp. 3. Polyp buds, medusae. 4. Medusa grows and dies. Simple, linear, final. But Turritopsis dowenii added an impossible step. After step 4, it loops back to step 2. It presses the reset button on its own existence. And here is the detail that keeps biologists awake at night. There is no theoretical limit to how many times it can do this. Not 10 times, not 100 times. It can potentially cycle between youth and maturity forever. As the great Carl Sagan once put it, the cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself. And this jellyfish, it is the universe refusing to forget. But if immortality is biologically possible, that raises a disturbing question that most people never think to ask. Why we age? Stop and think about this for a second. If one animal can reverse aging, that means aging is not inevitable. It is not some iron law of physics. It is a biological program, and programs can be rewritten. Aging is a program. Here is why humans age. Every time your cells divide, the protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes, called telomeres, get a little shorter. Think of them like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Each division wears them down. When they get too short, the cell stops dividing and eventually dies. This is called the Hayflick limit. Your cells can only divide about 40 to 60 times before they essentially give up. Your body is programmed to self-destruct on a schedule. But Teratopsis doanei does not play by these rules. When it reverts to a polyp, its telomeres appear to reset. Its cellular age effectively drops to zero. It is as if you could take a 90-year-old car, push a button, and watch it reassemble itself into a factory-fresh vehicle with 0 miles on the odometer. Now, you might be thinking, if this jellyfish cracked the code, can we steal it? And that is exactly what some scientists are trying to do right now. What they have found so far is both promising and deeply controversial. Stolen immortality. But this next one, this is the one that kept me up at night. In 2022, a team of researchers led by Maria Pascual-Torner at the University of Oviedo in Spain sequenced the entire genome of Teratopsis doanei. They compared it to Teratopsis rubra, a closely related jellyfish that ages and dies normally. Same family, different fate. What they found was extraordinary. The immortal jellyfish had unique mutations in genes associated with DNA repair, telomere maintenance, and cellular recycling. Specifically, it had amplified copies of genes linked to a process called autophagy, where cells consume and recycle their own damaged components. We have identified variants and expansions of genes associated with replication, DNA repair, and maintenance of telomeres. In plain language, this jellyfish has a supercharged self-repair system that no other animal possesses. Its cells are better at fixing themselves, better at maintaining their chromosomes, and better at clearing out cellular garbage. And here is the part that should make you sit up straight. Many of these same genes exist in humans. Identical. We have them. They are just not activated the same way. The blueprint for biological immortality might already be written in your DNA, just sitting there, switched off. And the next revelation makes this one look tame by comparison. Tiny but mighty. Let me pause here because this next part changes the entire picture. We are talking about an animal that has conquered death, and it is almost comically small. Teratopsis doanei is about 4.5 millimeters in diameter. That is smaller than your pinky nail, smaller than a pea. You could fit a dozen of them on a single coin. It has no brain, no central nervous system, no heart. It has a nerve net instead of a brain, which is about as sophisticated as a doorbell circuit. And yet this cognitively insignificant speck of jelly has achieved what empires have crumbled trying to achieve. The most powerful biological ability ever discovered belongs to one of the simplest creatures alive. It was originally found in the Mediterranean Sea, but here is what is unsettling. It has now been found in oceans all over the world. It is spreading silently through every ocean on the planet. Scientists believe it hitchhikes in the ballast water of cargo ships. It attaches to the hulls as polyps, rides across entire oceans, and establishes new colonies wherever it lands. An immortal creature with a global invasion strategy. As Darwin once observed, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one most adaptable to change, and nothing adapts quite like something that can restart its entire life. But is it truly immortal? The answer is more complicated than you think. Immortal limits. Now forget everything I just said about immortality being guaranteed, because here is the catch that most documentaries conveniently leave out. Teratopsis doanei can reverse its aging. It can theoretically live forever, but it can absolutely still be killed. Immortal, not invincible. Sea turtles eat them. Other jellyfish eat them. Fish eat them. Disease kills them. A sudden change in water temperature can wipe out an entire colony. Being biologically immortal does not mean you cannot be destroyed. It means that if nothing kills you externally, your body will never shut itself down from age. Think of it like a candle that relights itself every time it burns down. It will keep burning forever, unless someone blows it out. In the wild, most individual Teratopsis doenii probably do die before they ever get to use their immortality trick. They get eaten before they get old enough to need a reset. The irony is almost poetic. The one creature that solved death still lives in a world that kills relentlessly. And this paradox leads to a question that haunts researchers. If immortality exists in nature, but is constantly interrupted by violence and chaos, what does that tell us about the nature of life itself? The answer might disturb you. Human immortality. If you thought that was disturbing, you are not ready for this. Because scientists are not just studying Teratopsis doenii out of curiosity. They are studying it to extend human life forever. In laboratories right now, researchers are attempting to isolate the specific genes and proteins that trigger transdifferentiation. The goal is to understand how to activate similar pathways in human cells. Imagine a future where a heart attack victim's damaged cardiac tissue could be reprogrammed to become healthy, young heart cells. Where a spinal injury could be reversed because nerve cells could transform back into stem cells and regrow. 1. Reverse heart disease. 2. Regrow damaged nerves. 3. Reset aging cells. 4. Eliminate degenerative illness. This is not science fiction. Shin Kubota, a Japanese marine biologist, spent over 15 years keeping Teratopsis doenii alive in his lab, documenting over a dozen rejuvenation cycles in a single individual. Teratopsis doenii is the most miraculous species in the entire animal kingdom. He believed this jellyfish held the key to human rejuvenation, and the pharmaceutical industry is starting to agree. Billions of dollars are flowing into longevity research inspired by this tiny creature. Billions into immortality. But the ethical implications of human immortality are something we are dangerously unprepared for. And what comes next? That is where it gets truly insane. Ethics of forever. Here is where the story takes a dark turn. Let us say we crack the code. Let us say, in 20 or 50 years, scientists successfully translate the jellyfish's transdifferentiation into a treatment for humans. You walk into a clinic, receive a cellular reset, and your biological age drops by 30 years. Your body is 25 again, while your mind remembers everything. Sounds like paradise, but think deeper. Who gets access? If immortality costs $1 million a treatment, only the ultra-wealthy live forever. The rich become a permanent ruling class, never dying, never relinquishing power. What about overpopulation? If nobody dies of old age, but people keep being born, the math breaks down fast. Earth cannot sustain 8 billion immortals making more immortals. Resources collapse. Ecosystems shatter. And then there is the psychological dimension that nobody talks about. What happens to the human mind after 500 years of memories? Would you still be you after 1,000 years? Would love still mean anything if it never had an end point? Would purpose exist without a deadline? Maybe death is not the enemy. Maybe it is what makes everything matter. Comment whether you think human immortality would be a gift or a curse. I genuinely want to know what you think, because the answer reveals more about you than you realize. And remember the open loop from the beginning. Why I said the implications are far more unsettling than you think. Here is your answer. The real lesson. The unsettling truth is not that a jellyfish can live forever. The unsettling truth is what immortality reveals about mortality. Death gives life meaning. Teratopsis doenii has no awareness that it is immortal. It has no brain to appreciate it, no consciousness to enjoy it. It simply exists, cycling endlessly between youth and maturity with no understanding of what it has accomplished. It has immortality and zero capacity to value it. Meanwhile, you have a deadline, and that is exactly what makes your life extraordinary. Every meaningful thing humans have ever created, every piece of art, every act of love, every desperate push to leave something behind, exists because we know our time is limited. Urgency is the mother of greatness. The Stoic philosopher Seneca understood this thousands of years ago. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. The jellyfish has infinite time and does nothing with it. You have finite time and can do everything with it. That is not a tragedy. That is a gift. The creature that conquered death teaches us the most important lesson about life. It is not about how long you live. It is about what you do with the fact that you will not live forever. Time is not your enemy. Wasted time is. A 4 millimeter creature with no brain, no heart, and no bones has done what every civilization in history dreamed of. It conquered aging. It defeated death. And it has no idea. Immortal yet unaware. Meanwhile, we walk around with the most complex organ in the known universe between our ears, capable of love, art, discovery, and wonder. And we spend our finite days scrolling through things that will not matter tomorrow. The immortal jellyfish does not choose to live forever. It simply does. But you get to choose what to do with the time you have. And that choice is worth more than all the immortality in the ocean. If you made it this far, comment transdifferentiation to prove you are one of the rare ones who actually pays attention. The truth is stranger than anything you could make up. If your brain is as blown as mine right now, hit subscribe, because next time it gets even crazier.